But watch this.
Before any strike is taken, there must be near certainty that no civilians will be killed or injured, the highest standard we can set.
The vast majority of those killed in drone strikes, over 98%, have not been high-value targets.
As long as American troops are in Afghanistan, President Obama is not going to do away with signature strikes.
The adoption of signature strikes make indiscriminate killing, a policy.
What they end up with is what I described earlier, the signature strike.
And they move back to a greater reliance on these signature strikes.
Will you explain what a signature strike is?
Absolutely. A signature strike is a drone strike that isn't based on the identity of the target.
We are targeting people without having any concept of who it is that we're killing.
I obtained classified U.S. intelligence reports on drone strikes. What the documents reveal are the way that signature strikes are put together. And these are strikes against people who fit the signature of what the U.S. government says is a terrorist.
Maybe they are walking in and out of the compound with guns. Maybe they're getting in trucks and they're moving to the Afghan border.
And drone operators seated thousands of miles away from the area affected are looking at video feeds, assessing those video feeds, and based on that, making decisions about whether or not someone who's walking through the community is a suspected terrorist.
And you conclude on the basis of the behavior that they are a terrorist, and you kill them.
But looking at the imagery itself, there's no way you can tell a target is good, bad, other, indifferent, unless they were wearing a big sign on their back that said, hey, I'm Taliban or I'm Al-Qaeda, because it doesn't read minds.
The existence of signature strikes was first reported in early 2008 during the Bush administration, describing a shift in policy agreement in the agreement between the U.S. and Pakistan as to who could be targeted.
The agency became convinced that it had gotten so good at watching from above that it could distinguish different groups. It could distinguish whether a terrorist leader was at a certain location.
But there is room for a lot of misunderstanding when you're doing something like conducting signature strikes.
A drone strike is only as good as the intelligence that is behind the actual strike. Drones hit what they aim to hit. But if they're aimed at the wrong people, then civilians are killed.
Former U.S. Ambassador Cameron Munter had said that one man's combatant was another man's chump who went to a meeting.
When Leon Panetta was director of the CIA, somebody memorably said, if Leon sees a few guys doing jumping jacks on the ground, he thinks that's a terrorist training camp.
In a number of cases that I looked at, the CIA wasn't sure who they were hitting.
As soon as those signature strikes begin, we start to see another steep escalation in civilian casualties. In a signature strike, you're suddenly seeing 15, 20, 25, 30 people killed all at once. So that's what happens when signature strikes go wrong. Large numbers of people die.
On March 17, 2011, a jirga was held in Darakel to resolve a dispute over a chromite mine.
If there is a feud getting out of hand, jirga will convene and everyone has a chance to speak. It really is a democracy, and that is a mechanism to make sure that there is stability in society.
Darake pochalis na pusaka san saranasti. Dwaza nasu yozakai balzakai. O po mijmande da khabare kړلې د کورمیټ او د لارګي پمزکا نسویمش د سګرد.
They held the jirga in an open space in a bus depot in broad daylight. Tribal elders informed the Pakistani military.
Brigadier Dogad was in command of the brigade on the border, so he is a key commander. The brigadier knew about the jirga 10 days in advance. His own army camp was 10 kilometers from the site of the jirga.
So this was an open public event that pretty much everyone in the community and surrounding area knew about.
هغه وخت کې زه 3 کیلومتره کوم ما په خپل هغه ډرون لیدې او چې کله یې میزایل وشتل هغه میزایل ما ولیدل خو هغه د تخیل منه 3 کیلومتره هغه طرف ته ونه ویاده.
So the jirga begins in the morning at about 10 o'clock, and after about 20 minutes or so,
دا په ماس کې په پکان یو لاس باجې منده په 17/3/2011 کې په میژ منده څلور موزایل وشتل شو. دوه موزایل میژ منده وشتل شو، دوه په بل دی منده وشتل شو.
There's smoke and debris and chaos.
It was a huge explosions. So people in the shop in the nearby areas, they rushed to the place.
دا هغه وخت کې هغه ځای ته ورغله چې پاره کې زخمیان او د بنی آدم ټوکړي ټوکړي دا الته موجوده وی چې زه ورسېدم.
کله ټول مشران پکې شهیدان شوي دي نو زه ډیر خفه شوم ځکه چې زمونږ پلار چې ونو هغه زمونږ د قبیله مشر و زمونږ د آمدن ذریعہ و ټول زمونږ ډیپند چې ونو زمونږ په پلار باندې و.
وته چې کله مې ورسېدلې د تخیله وسیمه ته پښتنه وکړه چې څرا کاسون وی چې وسوب یا نشي شمیر نشي ټوکړي ټوکړي دي خال غشه غشه دي خانه و صرف چې داسم وکتل او صرف ټوکړي و کپڑے کمیسینه پکې سوي وي.
On Thursday, a drone strike in the remote tribal areas killed up to 30
US
people.
drone missile strike on Thursday killed at least
airstrikes near the Afghan border left more than 40 dead. Most of the dead were tribal elders.
In one morning, 40 important leaders all eliminated.
مو په ژوندل چې د میش خپل د قبیله ولا 15 کسون وی چې
The loss of 40 leaders on a single day is devastating for that community. It's devastating in terms of leadership, it's devastating in terms of the moral compass, and it's devastating in economic terms as well.
نه چونکه دا زمونږ د لپاره یو ډیر نقصان و. هغه په جرګې کې کېناستو د خلکو مسلې به حل کولې د خلکو د ترقۍ او د خوشحالۍ لپاره به کارونه کول ځکه چې هغه د خپل علاقې یو الکټ کونسلر و.
This drone strike is coming at the end of a series of drone strikes. It's feeding into the sense of no one is safe, nowhere is safe, nothing is safe. Even a jirga, the most cherished, the most treasured institution of the tribal areas. So we cannot even sit down and resolve an issue. That is not safe anymore.
That impact has really affected the population and their basic sense of security and basic sense of living in that area.
ابشام خوریږي یا صحیح نه دو خدا ډیکی سره لګي زخم کو تا دوه ورځې بیا پرشن کو او غژن ډېر تکلیف ترته په دماغ کې مې پرخ ونرتي
او باقي د میژ ژوندین خو از د طبيعي سره مخ ته لکه د میژ چې سمره ادارې دي او ختم شولې.
نو چونکه په دې ټایم باندې زه د میرانشاه په کور کې وم زما انکل چې راغی هغه دا خبر راکو چې د په جرګه باندې ډرون حمله شوې ده او زمونږ د کلی ټول مشران پکې شهیدان شوي دي.
Thank you very much and good afternoon everyone.
आप देख रहे थे मैंने आपको पूरी चीज़ नहीं दिखाई लेकिन बहुत डिस्टर्बिंग है क्योंकि आगे इसके इमेजेस ऐसे डिस्टर्बिंग है जो हर वक्त घर में बच्चे भी देख रहे होते हैं उनको नहीं मैं दिखाने चाहता लेकिन